Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing some Demise, King of Armageddon, Ruin, Queen of Oblivion test hand. So I am really excited with this. It's actually a Patreon request test hand video for Awalt. So Awalt asked me to build this particular deck because it has got some of the coolest artwork in the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And can summon some of the most powerful ritual monsters in the entire game as well, in the form of Ruin and Demise. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, just like Awalt did, for all those awesome rewards like getting your name searched in your single video, getting a signed card to the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month you're a patron along with test hands. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this, and definitely give Awalt some love down in the comments down below. So this deck is absolutely crazy, and actually has one of the very first limited ritual monsters in the entire game in this particular deck, in the form of Demise, King of Armageddon. And I've actually changed up this particular deck a lot since the last time I actually profiled it, because this deck is just really good and is very easy to customize to how you want it. It's a very budget deck as well, which is what's really cool about this particular build. I really like the way that it turned out, because I've changed it up quite a lot since the last time, and taken out some of the more expensive cards and put in a couple more budget cards that actually work really well with the deck to help you board wipe. I will say though, this deck is a very going second deck, so you will see some going second test hands in this particular video. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the first one. So we're gonna go ahead and shuffle the deck, cut the deck really quick, and see what we can pull off. So we're gonna go ahead and draw for turn. We're going to go ahead and draw our cards, excuse me. We're going to draw an End of the World, a copy of Incantation, Pencil Plume, Dark Ruler No More, which is why I was saying this deck goes better going second, our copy of Demise, and a copy of Dark Ruler No More. So this is a pretty good hand. You actually have some really easy plays if you're going first with this particular deck. So what you're going to basically do is just reveal in your hand a ritual monster, which is going to be your Demise, and then special summon out your Pencil Plume. And then you can actually use the Pencil Plume to special summon out your copy of your Talismandra, which then will search your copy of your Ruin. Now this is a really easy opening hand to go into, because you have some really simplistic plays that basically what you're going to do now is just pass against your opponent. So you're going to let your opponent go. When they go, they're going to walk through both of these monsters on your side of the field, and that's totally fine because we have double Dark Ruler No More. So once we go into our next turn, we're going to go ahead and draw into a copy of Talismandra, and then at this point you can go ahead and drop that copy of Dark Ruler No More against your opponent, completely negating their entire board, which is really cool, of their monsters. You can then use your copy of your Talismandra in your hand to then special summon it to your side of the field, and then use it to be able to special summon out your copy of your Kandal. Now Kandal is going to let you grab another ritual spell from your deck to your hand, which at this point I would probably grab another copy of the ritual End of the World, which is just going to help you a lot, because basically your Kandal has the ability to grab ritual spells and your Talismandra has the ability to grab ritual monsters, which is pretty good just to get those monsters from your deck to your hand. Now the cool thing is at this point you kind of got to choose which way you'd like to go. If you want to ritual summon using your copy of your Kandal and your copy of Talismandra, you can grab a copy of Cycle of the World if you'd like. It kind of depends on what you want to do. At this point, it does kind of like depend. If you want to grab, instead of the copy of the End of the World, the Cycle of the World, that is an option off the copy of the Kandal, because it gives you a little bit more plays in this particular situation. So we're just going to grab that instead of the End of the World, since we already have End of the World. So what you're going to do with this particular hand is you're going to go ahead and drop the copy of End of the World. This is actually 10 right here. And we're going to special summon out our copy of our Demise. And then since our opponent's effects are negated, we're then going to use this card to pay the 2,000 and then destroy all their cards on their side of the field. Now at this point, you can actually ritual summon this card away with Cycle of the World, because your Cycle of the World has a very unique effect. It actually has the ability, this card can be used to ritual summon Ruin or Demise. You must also tribute monsters from your field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you're trying to ritual summon. And then during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can shuffle this card into the deck to add an End of the World from your deck to your hand, and then add a Ruin or Demise from your graveyard to your hand. So you actually get more value off of searching this card and then ritual summoning out your copy of your Ruin. Now, the really cool thing about this particular deck, which you guys, if you want to check out the deck profile, it is down in the description below. This card is actually really cool too, because both your Ruin and your Demise actually gain abilities depending on which one you use to summon it. So for example, if you use a ritual monster to summon this or a ritual monster to summon that, you actually get particular buffs. This card has the ability that while this card, or when this ritual summon card is on the field, ritual monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. And if all monsters you use to ritual summon this card are ritual monsters, this card can make a second attack during each battle phase, and this card destroys a monster at battle. You can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack. So you can then throw this card out on your side of the field, can be destroyed by card effects, and attack twice as well. They don't take damage this turn, but you're set up for another play that they might not be able to recover from because you just board wiped them with your copy of Demise, which is pretty good. So then we pass to our opponent, and their opponent really won't do all that much because we already board wiped them. And we draw into an Incantation Inception. You can just swing through and go for game a little bit. With this card, it's only 2,900, so you won't be able to just completely go for game, but you will be able to swing. And then we can draw again, which is a Zaborg, which works really well if we have our incantations on the field, which I will show you guys in just a second. So if you swing through again, you're probably going to win at that point, and you do have the Dark Ruler no more, just in case your opponent tries to come back at all. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next one. As you guys can see, this deck does go into some really, really good plays. You can summon out your copies of your Ruins and your Demises really easily in this deck. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do for the next one. Zaborg, again, is a really crazy card. If I don't draw it, I will show you guys the play for your Zaborg in this particular deck, and it is a ridiculously good card for this deck. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle, and then we're going to go ahead and cut the deck, and let's see what we can do. So we're going to draw into a Chalice Slime, Cycle of the World, a copy of Pre-Prep, a copy of Talismandra, and a copy of Demise for our next hand. So this is a pretty good hand opening up. If you are going second, you're going to draw into another Pre-Prep, which you don't super need anyways. So we're just going to go ahead and show you guys what to do. So we're going to use the copy of the Pre-Prep of Rights. The Pre-Prep of Rights is actually only able to search your copy of your End of the World and your Demise, the normal Demise, not the Supreme Demise, because you're going to be able to search this card because it specifically lists this card, and this card only counts as Demise while it's on the field or while it's in your hand. So it doesn't count as when it's in the deck, so you can't search it with your copy of Pre-Prep of Rights, but it does get you another monster in hand. So we're going to go ahead and add those to hand, and then at this point you can actually use your copy of your Talismandra, and then special summon that to your side of the field, and then grab out of the deck a copy of your Kandal, and then Kandal will use its effect to be able to grab another card from your particular deck that you might need. That's a ritual spell. So at this point, I'd probably grab a copy of Incantation Inception, because Incantation Inception is going to help us out a lot in this particular scenario, just to get those cards out of the deck. And this card's going to help us out a lot anyways, because you're going to get more value out of this as well. So at this point, you can use your copy of your End of the World if you'd like. You can use the copy of Cycle of the World because it ritual summons a Demise or a Ruin that has the ability that you must tribute monsters from your field whose total level equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you're trying to ritual summon. So since we have the monsters on the field, you can use the copy of Cycle to then immediately go in for your copy of your big Demise on your side of the field in defense position, just to give you a little bit of a protection play to go in for that monster. Now, once you pass against your opponent, they're going to think, oh, okay, well, he summoned this monster in defense position. They're not going to have a lot of plays for backup plays, but we do. We have a lot of backup plays in the particular hand that they have to get through this big Demise to get into our life points, which has the ability that when this card is on the hand, or when you ritual summon this card, your ritual monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. So basically, this card is going to protect itself, which is pretty good, to be able to just immediately protect itself, to be able to just not be destroyed by battle, which is really, really good. Now, if you use ritual monsters, you do get that added buff where you don't have to pay the 2,000 to board wipe, but just being able to summon this card is just really good. So once we summon this card to our side of the field in defense position, we're going to have a little bit of protection because it is a 3k defense position monster anyways. But then if our opponent can't get through this card, we're going to draw and then board wipe with this card. You're just going to immediately board wipe for the 2k. And have a really big monster on the field as well. We're going to switch that monster to attack position, and then once we do, we can reveal the spell card in our hand to be able to special summon out our copy of our Kandal, and then do the same thing that we did before, special summon out that copy of Talismandra. And then at this point, you can actually search your copy of Ruin to get them both out on the field, which is going to help you out a lot. Now, you can use the copy of End of the World to actually ritual summon her now, just to get her out on your side of the field, which is going to be super helpful. And then at this point, you can just kind of go in for game with these two monsters, which is going to be really, really good. You can actually use the copy of the Chalice Slime if you'd like, which is going to help you out a little bit if you want to grab another ritual monster from your deck to your hand to get you a copy of one of your other cards from your deck. You can actually use this card to be able to discard the copy of Incantation Inception, or the copy of your Demise, depending on which one you want to get rid of, to then grab from the deck another incantation monster, which could be a copy of like a Pencil Plume, just to get you another monster on board to be able to grab another ritual monster or ritual spell, depending on if you summon the copy of Bookstone or Pencil Plume, which is going to be really helpful. It just kind of depends on which one you want to grab. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for another test hand, because as you guys can see, it's really, really good. I love that effect, that basically what they both do. If you guys are unfamiliar with what their effects are, which you guys will hear in the deck profile, you can ritual summon this card with Cycle of the World, and this card's name becomes Ruin, Ruin, Queen of Oblivion, while in hand or field. And when this ritual summon card is on the field, ritual monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. So she lives through the copy of the Big Demise, which is really good. And the Big Demise has the ability that while this card's in your hand or field, it's treated as a Demise King of Armageddon, and then when this card's ritual summoned to your field, your ritual monsters cannot be destroyed by battles, so she protects from card effects and he protects from battles. So when you have both of them on the field, they become really big and really hard to deal with, which is what's really cool about this particular deck. So let's go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do for the next hand. Like that, I love that particular ability about the big ones, is that they basically have that protection effect. It just helps them out so much, and it helps out the deck a lot to go into those particular plays. I'm actually going to show you guys, if I don't draw it this time in the next test hand, I'll show you guys the big play with Zaborg that you can do if you go second. If you go first, it's pretty good, but if you go second, it's just going to completely overwhelm your opponent, which is what's really cool. All you have to open up is an incantation and a copy of a Zaborg, and you can go in for that particular play. But let's see if we can do it. We're going to draw, and we're going to draw into a Cycle of the World, a copy of Zaborg. We already got it. A copy of Manju, a copy of Demise, and if we draw an incantation, we got it. We draw a Talismancer. We actually have the full play. That's actually cool. That was, wow, we actually draw it. I called it. So what we're going to do with this particular hand is very simple. You're not going to normal summon it. Do not normal summon this card. What you're going to do is reveal the copy of the Talismandra and reveal your copy of Demise in your hand. Now, once you do, you're going to go ahead and special summon from the deck a copy of your Kandal. Now, once you summon out that copy of Kandal, it's going to let you search a copy of End of the World, which is going to be really helpful for this particular hand. You might be thinking, hey, we're going to ritual summon. Nope, we're not going to ritual summon. You actually have some really good plays. If you go second with this particular hand, you're going to have a lot more fun with this, but we're just going to say we're going first. So I'm going to show you guys what you would do going first or going second for this particular hand. You do the same exact thing. What we're going to do is just immediately tribute both of these monsters on our side of the field and normal summon out that copy of Zaborg. So once you normal summon out that Zaborg to your side of the field, its awesome effect kicks in. It has the ability that when this card is tribute summoned, that you get to send this card to the graveyard, or basically you get to summon this card, and then by tributing one tribute summon monster. And if this card is tribute summoned, you get to target a monster on the field and destroy it. And if it's a light monster, both players send that many cards from their extract as possible, equal to the level of that monster, which is really good. It also has the ability, but not more than the level or rank of the monster that was destroyed by this effect. And if this card was tribute summoned by tributing a light monster, you add the additional effect to you choose the cards that get sent from the extract to the graveyard. So I get to pick what I send that are up to 8 cards out of my opponent's extra deck directly to the graveyard. So for my 8 that I'm going to grab is 3 copies of Herald of the Arclight, a copy of Psyframe Lord Omega just to get cards back into the deck, 2 copies of Elder Entity Nist, and a copy of Fossil Warrior. And the last one kind of depends if you're going first or second and you have anything banished. You can use Deep Sea Primarina, or you can use your copy of Elder Entity Nist. If you use the copy of Elder Entity Nist, this basically turns into a pop 4, and this turns into a search 3 and put something back into the deck, which is what's really, really good. If you're going against your opponent and they don't have any cards on the field, this is basically useless, but this still turns into a search 3, which is really, really, really good for this deck. And I still would probably go for this even if I'm going first. It's not as much value going first, which is why I said this deck does a lot better going second, but just doing this, you're getting a +3 off of a normal summon. So we're going to go ahead and send these to the graveyard, and when we do, we're going to go ahead and search the deck for a copy of Ruin. We're going to search a copy of regular Big Demise, and we're going to search out a copy of, say, another copy of End of the World, because you can actually get both of them, I believe, out on the field, which is going to be really, really helpful just to immediately get that card out on our field. Actually, No, you're just going to summon out one. One is fine for the first turn. One is fine. We're just going to go ahead and search out 3 of the ritual monsters. So we're just going to summon out like this. So what we're going to do is actually summon out the copy of End of the World. We're going to go ahead and tribute a copy of Demise to summon out the copy of Demise with End of the World, and then we're going to pass against our opponent with this card in defense. If you're going first, we're going to pass, we're going to go for our turn, we're going to draw, and we're going to draw into another copy of Zaborg. Normal summon out that copy, actually, excuse me, blow board, then normal summon out the copy of Manju. Manju will then search the other copy of End of the World from the deck. And then at this point, you can actually use the copy of your Ruin to go into this card, because you can use the Zaborg and the copy of the Demise in your hand, because it does exceed the level to be able to summon this card, which is really good, because it has the ability that you must also tribute monsters from your hand whose total level equals the level. Oh, it has to exactly equal. So you can't actually summon her that way. But you can actually just get that card from your deck to your hand anyways, because the copy of the End of the World is going to help you, but you can actually do it this way instead. You can actually use the Zaborg in your hand with a copy of End of the World, and then you can switch this to attack position and then go in for those particular plays, because this is going to give you the most damage against your opponent. You're just going to immediately swing like this for a lot of damage. So you're getting all those pluses off this card. And then the really cool thing is, if your opponent has something that can't be destroyed by a blanket effect, this card can actually just banish itself from the graveyard to target a card your opponent's field and destroy that card, which is really cool. If it can't be destroyed by the blanket effect of Demise, then you can use this to specifically target it and destroy it, which is pretty cool. But usually cards, if they're protecting themselves, are going to completely protect themselves. So let's go ahead and do one more particular test hand and see what we can do for one more test hand, because this deck is just really, really, really fun to play around with. So we're just going to go ahead and shuffle it up and see what we can do. So we're going to go ahead and draw for turn into a copy of Pencil Plume, a Chalice Slime, Manju, a copy of another Chalice Slime, and a Ruin, which is not bad at all. You have plenty of plays. You have the Ritual Monster reveal. You have the Manju to the normal summon. You have the copy of the Chalice Slime to get you a search. You have plenty of plays in your particular hand to go off. So we're going to go ahead and use the copy of Pencil Plume, reveal it, and a copy of Chalice Slime in hand. And we're going to special summon out a copy of Candle. And that's actually going to get our ritual spell from our deck to our hand. So I'm going to actually add a copy of Cycle of the World, because I want to summon out that copy of Ruin to my side of the field. And then you can go ahead and, if you want to, normal summon out that copy of Manju, because we're not going to Zaborg, because you only play a couple of normal summons in the deck. We're going to search out a copy of Demise from the deck now, which is going to be the big Demise that we're going to search off of that particular card. Actually, probably End of the World would be better. And then we're going to go ahead and reveal the copy of the Chalice Slime in our hand to then ditch the copy of our Chalice Slime in the hand to then immediately special summon out a copy of our Talismandra. Now, once we summon out all those monsters to our field, the copy of Talismandra will go off and it'll actually search the copy of the big Demise that we will need in our hand, which is going to help us out a lot to go into the copy of Ruin, to be able to go into some big plays, which is really good. The reason I'm actually not going to go into Demise is because you have all these other monsters on the field, so going into this card is going to be a lot better. So we're just going to go ahead and do Cycle of the World, and you can actually go in by tributing these two monsters on the field and summon out this card if you want to. And then you can basically go in for the big Demise as well by using these two monsters, and you can go into both of them this way, because this is exactly 7 right here. 3 plus 7 is your 10 right there. So you need to go to 10 to get this monster out. So you got all three, you got both of them out in your field, which is really good. And you have the Manju in the middle, which is really good to be able to just have an additional monster. This card can board wipe, which would get rid of the copy of Manju, but if you're going first, you're just going to summon these in defense position and basically pass against the opponent and let them go. You can go into extra deck if you need to overlay these two to go into a Juggernaut Libby if you want to go that route, which is an option for you guys. If you need to go that route, I don't really recommend it. I usually just like to leave them on the field in defense position going first. And then if my opponent can't out them, I then go in next turn, go in, below board, and then just swing for game. And if I draw for turn, I'm going to draw into an End of the World, and I'm just going to win right here, pretty much, which is really cool. So that's it for this one, guys. I hope you did enjoy this one, Awalt. It was a lot of fun to actually pull this deck out and do some test hands of it. It's really, really fun to actually play this deck, and the artwork is just absolutely phenomenal for this particular deck. I love the way that it plays. It's a really fun ritual-based deck that you can just summon out some really cool old-school ritual monsters, like your old school Demise, and you can summon out the copies of the big Demise as well, which is really awesome and big Ruin. And so anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below, and give Awalt some love down in the comments down below for requesting this one. And if you guys would like to comment down below what your favorite ritual monster is, I would love to hear it. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.